Live from the Export Beer Garden Studios, this is the Vagenda for International Women's Day, 8th of March 2024.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
The Vagenda, eh?
The Vagenda.
The Vagenda.
This is something that's been bandied about out in the office, primarily from Cape Breton, who works at Radio Hodaki. She's been pitching to come onto this podcast for a long time.
Yeah.
She said International Women's Day is the perfect opportunity for that, and so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome absolutely no one, because we don't take that kind of request here on this podcast. You can't just barge into this podcast.
Exactly. We don't do requests.
No,
okay?
we don't.
So we're still going to call it Vagenda because it is International Women's Day, and I love women.
Yes, as do I. I mean, without them, none of us would be here. How do you plan to spend the rest of your International Women's Day, Lane? What are you doing today to celebrate?
What are you doing?
We're heading out for the first of the 2024 ACC Golf Opens.
Okay, this sounds terrible, but there is not one female playing in the ACC Open today at Windross Farm.
They know better. I couldn't think of a worse way to spend my International Women's Day if I was...
So yeah, what a way to spend it.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
It sounds like that's all you thought of. This sounds pointed. It seems like an attack against an entire gender.
Hey, my beautiful wife and children are all going to Pink tonight.
Oh, it's delightful.
Okay, and I am going to come back from the golf day.
Yep.
Pound some beers and watch the wires and listen to Di Henwood.
Sounds like a beautiful, beautiful
That's
afternoon.
What a great way to honour them.
There is so much going on this weekend, so later on in the podcast we'll run through what's going on, because it's a lot to keep up with. So I know that listeners of this podcast need the full rundown of what's going on. We've got a ton of yours, please, to get to as well. Plus, because it is the Warriors' first game, we are going to talk to Monty Betham. Montgomery Betham. He is the 61st Warrior. And
61st, that's quite early.
Very early, yeah. Very, very early. And he's going to be doing the mainstream commentary for the Warriors. He's also got Once a Warrior. It's actually a great I don't know why I said actually. It's a great TV show. Go and watch that. Yeah, it's just him sitting down with old Warriors. You're like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I
and it's good because I've stumbled across that a few times because I think they replay it at nauseum on Sky.
Yes, they do.
But it's quite good because they're at the age where they don't care and they tell some great stories.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's actually, and some of those early days of the Warriors was like crazy. That was crazy.
They were still figuring out what it was to be a New Zealand NRL team. They're like, I don't this has never happened before.
Yeah.
None of us know what's going on.
Yeah.
And as we all know, NRL players are pretty loose units in general anyway, but to picture them back in the 90s. So yeah, that's great. And it'll be great to catch up with Monty later on in the podcast as well. But
also, he witnessed our
Broncos,
didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, more pressing news. At the time of recording, we're about an hour and a half away from the first ball in the second test down at Hagley Park. As we're talking to you right now, we're looking at a live feed of Hagley Oval, which is a beautiful, beautiful cricketing ground in New Zealand. It's very green in the outfield. Can't really get a good look at the pitch, but
it's greenish.
It's greenish.
I've seen greener at Hagley Oval, if I'm honest with you, Manaia, but I've heard whisperings that they've rolled the absolute bejesus out of it the last couple of days just to try and take some juice out of it.
Right.
To flatten it out a little bit. So not as green as usual, but still got some, like all Hagley Oval test matches, the first day is mildly terrifying, and that toss is crucial.
Well, are we going to see a repeat of what seems to be every match so far this summer, and a winning of the coin toss and an absolute misreading of the pitch here today?
I think they will play Mitchell Satner. I don't think they can take a four-pronged seam attack of Kugelheim, Sears, Henry, and Southey into this match. I think potentially Sears may make a debut, got nothing to lose. Kugelheim may sit out and Satner might come in.
Yeah.
I think they have to choose Satner. They have to have a specialist spinner. Mind you, they'll probably sit back and say Glenn Phillips got a 5 for, why don't we just bowl him? I don't know, because I don't really know what's going on in the selection of New Zealand. No. I would have played Wagner here just because he's fit, he's ready to go. And we've got nothing to lose.
Like I was saying on the podcast yesterday, and I always say, do what your opponent doesn't want you to do. Australia do not want us to pick Neil Wagner.
Or Lockie Ferguson.
Or Lockie Ferguson, yeah, exactly. They'll be like, oh, Kugelheim, yeah, go for it, man. Absolutely. But yeah, you're right. I think if you're Gary Stead, this is another one of my my life rules is you've got to figure out how you want to be wrong. If you're going to be wrong because you picked Santner and it didn't turn or pop as much as you wanted it to, that's something you can live with. If you don't pick him, and all of a sudden Glenn Phillips starts looking like Shane Warne again, then you're going to be kicking yourself, So be wrong for the right reasons. Pick Santner, just have an option in there,
Yeah.
I would have flown Ajaz in, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, Ajaz, he's getting wickets in first-class cricket.
Yeah.
Quite around New Zealand, remember?
In
which is,
New Zealand?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we get too cute with all of the, it doesn't take spin pitches in New Zealand, this and that. This guy only plays this format of cricket, this guy only plays that format. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. You mentioned Sears, he gets a start. If you had to guess how old Ben Sears was, how old would you say?
24.
He is 26.
Ooh, damn.
He is, a very young-looking dude,
Yeah.
but also a symptom of how hard it is to get into the Black Caps.
Yeah.
Because he's been toiling away essentially as a professional cricket for almost a decade now. And I'd put my hand up and say I hadn't heard of him until the start of this summer.
Oh, no, he's well known around the traps.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he is, but it's just like it's such a grind to get into this Black Cap squad.
Yeah, I know.
That it can take you until you're late. I suppose 26 is mid-20s, but it'll be very good to see how he goes. What we're losing in Wagner in the attitude, Ben Sears has that same thing of he's going to go as hard as he can for as long as he can.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, and he probably snapped himself in half. The way he's not a big man, he's quite slight.
He's slender,
and he throws himself through the crease,
and he delivers a hearty pukana in his delivery stride.
Ends up half the time splattered across the pitch as well on his follow through, which I actually quite like.
I love it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over 5 straight days.
Yeah, so toss is crucial today. It's the last game of summer.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty magnificent summer, pretty long. Started in mid-December with Bangladesh, and we had Pakistan, and we had that shitty South African team, and now we've got Australia. Next year we've got England before Christmas. Yeah.
And to be fair, this year as well, a couple of washouts at the start of the summer, but to be fair, we've gotten a good summer of cricket weather-wise as well.
Yeah, and the weather's looking good down in Christchurch, so I wouldn't get on the draw if you're at the TAB. I've sprinkled a bit of stuff on the cricket. For today, I've gone, since the pitch is quite green, first session, any player dismissed for a duck, paying $6.
Yeah.
So I've gone on that. Today, that's kind of my one and only pick, actually, on the cricket so far.
Is that our agenda game day good part?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It is. But Australia are paying $150 to win.
Yeah.
If I had a spare, I don't know, 100 grand,
Yes.
chuck it on that.
You would.
I would.
$1.50.
I mean, they surely world test champions, red hot favourites, going down to a pitch that's given a bit. They've got a bowling lineup that arguably the best in the world.
Yes.
Batting lineup, not so great, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But our one's, we haven't got Conway.
No.
So ours is a little bit shaky in the middle order. So yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to write off the Black Caps, but they're up against this team, and I hope they do really well. I hope they bowl first, snick Australia out for 120, post 300, put the heat on.
Yeah, and then we'll have ourselves a party across the weekend.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that one tracks. As we mentioned, first ball's at 11. By the time you're listening to this, it will have already happened. But our coverage will be on iHeartRadio across the weekend. And just while we're on cricket, and before we get to a quick ad break, Dylan Cleaver of the Bounce fame, of the BYC podcast fame, and a great commentator and journalist and dear friend of the show here, he has posted an article about Victoria Park being proposed as the new Test cricket venue. I've heard this before somewhere.
Yes, I put something together about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, together with myself, Jeremy, and another mate, Dicko, and another mate, Muzz. And we got an architect to help us, Jazzmax actually, and Becca Engineering. Right. A couple of cricket fans in there. And
is that big evil building down there?
Yeah.
Becca,
So Becca and Jazzmax, and they were like, I remember I got put in touch with the right people, and this was a while ago, and we called it VIP, Victoria International Park. And we've got a Facebook group and everything, got it going. We got our designs made. We said you could fit it in. Everyone was arguing about Albany and Western Springs. And I was like, hey, at Victoria Park, motherfuckers.
Middle of the city.
Yeah, and we got a bit of traction actually on the VIP. I think Jeremy went on TV and debated with some Ponsonby Dog Walkers Association, the guy who was such a wanker, like saying that park would close it off to public. And it was like, no, we're not saying it's closed off public. We're just a better use of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it kind of, and then we met with council, we met with the regional facilities and stadiums, And it was we got fucked. It was the biggest fuck around. That's how they wear people down.
Yeah.
They just wear you down with that stuff. And in the end, we were like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, it's not really our battle anymore. It's a cool idea. Anyway, I had some associates who were involved in the Wynyard project with the stadium,
Waterfront Stadium,
the waterfront stadium with the tank farmers.
Yes,
and turning Wynyard into a sports precinct and having a walkway across to the event centre now at the moment, and turning that into a 10,000 seat basketball tennis stadium.
Yep.
And then having a walkway. And I said, hey, I had this idea 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Called the VIP. Here's our plans, and they were like, this is awesome. But let's make it better. And they sent it to Populous. And Populous are the world's biggest stadium infrastructure.
Stadium builders
and designers. So they're no mugs.
Yeah.
And then they put together this current plan. It looks fucking wicked.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. And half our argument is people are like, oh, you hit the motorway. It's like, no, you won't. Park's massive. And then like, it won't fit. It fits. They've fitted it in there. They know stadiums. They've fitted it in there. They know how to do that. And then everyone's like, no, what about parking? CBD is the biggest car park in New Zealand.
Also,
okay?
you can't park at Eden Park.
No, I know.
So what about parking me? Because I can't park there. I can't park at Westpac.
I know. And then the Grafton Cricket Club are into it. Of course they are. Look, Colin Maiden, Auckland Cricket, go out there. I don't care.
I don't even know where that is.
It is way out east. No one will go. If they play international cricket there, I'm done. I'm breaking up with cricket in Auckland. I'm never going to a game again. But with this one also, and our big argument, and I'm going to bone on about this because this is what I boned on about when I first proposed it, is it's not just a great place to have it. It's in the CBD. It's surrounded by corporates, and let's not kid ourselves. That's the Test match cricket audience.
Yeah,
is corporates.
They take their clients.
Yeah, they would sell it out in a heartbeat. You got Fonterra, Kiwi Bank, Air New Zealand, NZME. You got agencies galore. You got all through the waterfront.
Sky
there.
City Casino.
You got everyone. All the big agencies, all the big media companies are all within, I'd say, 500 meters of this ground.
Yep.
But
TVNZ.
Also,
News Hub. Oh, sorry, TV3.
But also, you think about it. We play England in a test match. What is it? It's 5 days of a Tourism New Zealand video shoot with a drone flying over the harbour bridge into Victoria Park, up to Sky City. India, fairly big population. You'd say probably a good tourist destination.
Yeah, probably the biggest population in the world, yeah.
Australia, pretty big tourist destination for them to come to New Zealand.
A hand to Auckland,
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it is a free 5-day ad.
Yeah.
Tourism ad, free.
And also it gets people into the CBD and then they can just walk around wherever they want to go. For people who are not that familiar with Auckland, basically if you drew a straight line from the Sky Tower to the Harbour Bridge and you drop the pin in the middle of that line, that's where Victoria Park is.
Yeah.
It is stumbling distance from the casino.
Yeah. And also, I mean, this is the council, what they said to us. This is 6 years ago. They go, this is potentially going to be a staging area for the second crossing of the harbour. Like, when the fuck is that going to happen? Never. If it doesn't happen in the next 30 years, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, when it happens, let us know, and maybe you can stick it on the other side of the motorway flyover. Yeah. Like, don't. Why are you talking to me about the future when you're not even willing to look at the future of cricket in the country?
Well, actually, it's like, okay, we want to set down the waterfront harbour and the waterfront stadium, and they go, well, actually, when we colonise Mars, this is going to be where the rockets take off. And I'm like, okay, but fucking we.
It's true.
That's
true.
Anyway, what they're saying.
I'm all in on Vic Park, but part of me, my gut feeling is too many NIMBYs, not in my backyards from Ponsonby will kick up.
Yeah.
And they've got influence over the dipshit councillors who won't do it because it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
The squeakiest wheels will be the arts people who go, what about funding for the museum? What about funding for the art gallery? What about funding? Fuck off. Like,
no one comes to your art gallery.
Can we do something? Can we fucking do something in Auckland?
Yep. All right, let's bin that. We've talked ad nauseum about that, so we'll park that for now, and we will be back with another rousing round of Yours, Please.
Yours, Please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
When you listen to this podcast on the iHeartRadio app, you have the opportunity to send through your own feedback. Now, the other day, Lane, you and I were talking about the Everyday Olympics, what you would put into the Olympics if you were going to give yourself the chance to win a gold, and we've had some feedback on that. Caller, Yours, Please.
Yeah, g'day, boys. I was just thinking in terms of Olympic events, there should be one for the Irish goodbye, to see how many people you can avoid trying to leave a party. Cheers, Whānau.
I love thinking about how this would play out. So you would have a bunch of people in like a social setting in the middle of a stadium, and they're all milling about, maybe having a few beers, whatever. And then you'd have the commentators. Oh, now look at this. Now look at. Hold on. Where's the athlete from Germany? Where's the competitor from Germany? He's left an hour ago. He left an hour ago. This is unbelievable. The most Irish of goodbyes, ironically, by Team Germany.
Yeah, I've got a few techniques. Do you do a few Irish goodbyes? Are you a big Irish goodbye?
Fuck yeah.
Are you? Because I've had seen a few people with their new different techniques. Going to the toilet is an obvious one.
Yes.
Answering your phone for a fake phone call.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I like that one because that gives you, if someone spots you on the way out, they'll go, oh, he's just got a phone call and he left, so something must have happened. Yeah.
So the phone is a classic. I smoke bomb. Just smoke bomb, and then I text my goodbyes while I'm in the Uber.
Oh, do you?
So I've evac'd, and then I text guys, sorry guys, had to go. I shat my pants.
I once had a similar situation, but it was sort of like the inverse, where I had Irish goodbye when everybody was going to the next venue. We're all going back to, and funnily enough, it was Matt Heath's house. We're going from the pub to Matt Heath's house. I'm in the Uber, he's ringing me. Hey man, where are you? Are you coming around? We've all just got here. I was like, yeah, I'm still in the Uber. And then he rings me again. Hey, where are you? I'm tucked up in bed. I was like, yeah, on my way. What's your address again? Okay, sweet, I'll be there.
See, yeah, okay, that's good.
I don't know if that's Irish. That might be like Northern. Maybe that's the IRA goodbye.
Yeah, when you just keep leading them on and just don't turn up.
You blow it up. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Going out for a durry and then never coming back in.
Yeah, durry smoking's a good one.
Something I'll use because not often people will come looking for you. But it's certain groups of people that you're around that necessitate the Irish goodbye. Yeah. Because there's some guys who just won't let you leave. They won't let you not have another beer. And then you're like, well, I've got no choice but to Irish goodbye.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of pull and parachute. I think that would be one of the greatest events to watch. It'd be like,
especially hang on. You can see, here we go, Australia reaching for the phone. Is that a legitimate call? Let's have a look. Let's call his number. Because I've seen people with their phones to their ears and the phone starts ringing. So you got to silence the ring. You got to silence the ring before you fake the phone call. Yeah, that'd be quite good. He goes, and there we have it. That was fake. He's been pulled out by England. England have pulled him back, and he's made to scull another beer. Yeah,
that's going to be a 1 beer penalty in 15 minutes. He's going to have to wait in the penalty area for 15 minutes.
And he goes, oh, here goes France. Looks like he's going for a toilet break, but he's being followed by Germany. Germany are just going to sneak in behind there and make sure that France don't smoke bomb through the toilet.
That would be hilarious. I've got an idea of the pub in my head where this is all going down. Yeah, that was a great one. Yesterday on the podcast, Lane, we were talking about Joseph Parker and how one of the big issues that he's got is he doesn't have a scary nickname.
Oh, yeah, what is it?
I don't really... I mean, he has his chieftain title from the islands that I love hearing the ring announcers butcher, and I'm not going to have a crack at it here. But we've had a few people send in their messages with what they think it should be. So, caller, yours, please.
G'day, fellas. David Bain with an E here. I thought that Joseph Parker's nickname was just Joe the Bro $2 Whopper after all those Burger King pots. But yeah, something else would be quite cool to see in there. Maybe Peter. I feel like that'd be looking pretty good.
Yeah, Peter Parker.
Bit of Spider-Man illusion there, swinging some webs. Yeah, cheers.
Joseph Peter Parker! Not quite the same, but
the
Whopper.
$2 Whopper!
That's quite good.
The $2
Joseph, the $2 Whopper Parker!
He should sell his nickname.
Yes.
What a new revenue stream for him.
Joseph, the Agenda podcast available on iHeart Parker!
Brilliant. We've had a few more. Caller, yours, please.
Explosive. Joseph. Jurassic. Wet weather. Parker.
Yes. Got the delivery as well.
10 out of 10 for delivery.
Explosive Joseph. That's good.
Explosive Joseph. Then he went on the Jurassic Parker. I don't mind Jurassic Parker's pretty good. And then the Parker, like the rain jacket. There was a hat on that one, but cannot fault the delivery. A couple more. Yours, please.
Hey, Manacas, Paddy here from Christchurch. Mate, Joe Parker nicknames, my favourite is Explosive Joseph Jurassic Parker. Absolute belter of a nickname. Cheers, mate. Love your work.
Do those two last guys know each other? Or is that a thing? Explosive Joseph
Jurassic Parker.
Jurassic Parker. I don't know. It's a hat on a hat. One more. Caller, yours, please.
Yeah, g'day Murray, first time caller, long time listener. How about Joe Fists Parker? Joe Fists? Joe Fists Parker? Joe Fists Parker down? I don't know.
Look, I like that one. It's got a double entendre because not only has he got fist, but he'll bend you over and fist you.
Fist you, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be intimidated if I came across a boxer whose nickname was Fists. I'd be like, I'm going to look at him, especially if, like, at the weigh-in, he kind of gave you a pick on the cheek or something, and I'm going to fist you.
Well, it's funny you say that because they had their press conference, and obviously Zhang doesn't speak English, so he was speaking through a translator, and his nickname is Big Bang, and he's like, and Joseph, this weekend, I'm going to bang you. And then Joseph Parker's like, the fuck?
He should have come back and gone, I'm going to fist you.
Yeah, well, that's right. What he said was, I'm going to bang you. And then he posted the clip on his own Instagram, and it's just like, just two guys that want to bang each other. But yeah,
it's the least homoerotic sport on earth.
Yeah.
Like UFC, there's homoerotic undertones in UFC with the small the wrestling and the small shorts. But boxing, no two guys. Heavyweight boxers have said they're going to bang each other.
Yeah, so I quite like that one. But fists, Joey Fists.
Joey Fists.
Joey Fists is good. It's like Bobby Knuckles in the UFC. Joey Fists, that's brilliant. Keep that correspondence coming through across the weekend. We've got so much on. In fact, so much on that we need to run through it all with you right now in a new segment I like to call...
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
How can you get that high, that register? Jeez.
Marvin Gaye, that whole album, just tremendous. Rick Rubin's favourite album, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. What is going on this weekend? Obviously, the test we've just been talking about, that starts in about an hour's time from the point of recording this, and will go throughout the weekend. So bear that in mind. That is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yep. That's the first 4 days.
At least.
Yes.
The Warriors are playing the Sharks. This is the first game of the season, and we'll be talking to Monty Betham in just a few moments' time about that. Live from Mount Smart Stadium at 8 p.m.
Yep.
This is the first season the ACC has been allowed in the ground to commentate the games.
Yes, so up high, level 5 of the West Stand will be Keesey and Di Henwood.
Yes.
The window will be open.
Yep.
So if you are in the West Stand, you'll probably hear Di Henwood. He is at the ground already.
And he will hear you.
Yeah.
So engage. Engage in a dialogue.
Absolutely. He's there already. You know, it's still another 12 hours, like 11 hours till kickoff.
It's funny you say that. I feel like you might be joking, but in our group chat, he genuinely, we were talking about how's everyone getting out to the game today. He's like, I'll probably be there at about 10, so I won't need a ride. I'll be out there already. So, by the time you're listening to this, Di Henwood is at Mount Smart Stadium. Yep. We went out there to set up the grounds, and are you aware of the Mount Smart macaque?
No.
You know what a macaque is?
Yes.
The monkey?
Yeah.
They've got them out at Mount Smart. So while the games aren't being played throughout the week, you know how different stadiums have bird scarers?
Yes.
Eden Park's got like the shot, this sounds like the drum fill from In the Air by Phil Collins. Mount Smart have got a soundtrack of monkeys. That's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, that was freaky. That's what they play, and it's enough to scare the birds away because there's the Mount Smart macaques out there.
It's funny when you go to Hawke's Bay, and we went to a vineyard in Hawke's Bay, and we're sitting down having a wine outside, and it goes, boom! It's like a shotgun goes off every 5 minutes.
Yeah, the little gas-powered bird scarers just get the piss out of you. So anyway, Warriors v Sharks, live from Mount Smart, home of the Mount Smart macaque. The Manu Champs are on tomorrow at the Viaduct in Auckland, and you and I will be down there commentating the grand final.
Yes, the grand final of the women's and men's, but it's all day. From 1 o'clock onwards, I think, is finals all day down there in the Viaduct.
And this has been going on around the country for weeks now, and it's all coming down to the pointy end. So that is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night also, Blues versus Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Top of the table clash between those two. Top of the table 2 weeks in. This is very Blues versus Hurricanes kind of behaviour. But that'll be on at, is it 7:30 tomorrow night?
Yes, coverage brought to you by Max Raft. That kicks off at 7 p.m. with myself and James McConey on iHeartRadio. So as soon as the cricket's finished, we flip over to the rugby, and it's on Sky Sport 9 as well.
Yep.
And so if you've got a Sky decoder, everyone goes, I haven't got Sky Sport 9. It's on 59. It's the Sky Sport 9 channel. So if you've got your old school box, it's channel 59. If you're on Sky Sport Now, it's just the Sky Sport Now
Channel
9 channel.
Yeah.
So for the Mad Monday and for all of Super Rugby, that's what channel we'll be on.
There have been times where I've checked Sky Sport 9 and it said that something else is on, but I just put the channel on and make sure that you click live if you're on the app, and I guarantee you we will be on there. If you don't have Sky Sport Now, the Mad Monday podcast has your chance to win a free month subscription. So go and listen to that for all the details as to how you can win that if you don't have it. So that's what's going on this weekend. Next week we have another absolutely frantic week, so we'll keep you posted as to what's going on there as well. But it's time for us to get out of here. Lane, I'll give you a chance to go and get changed into your golfing attire.
I'm going to wear women's clothes to the golf.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. Time for one more quick break, then we're going to catch up with our dear friend, Monty Betham. Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome into the agenda, ahead of the Warriors 2024 season kicking off, Warriors 61 himself, Monty Betham. Morning, Monty. How are you getting on this morning?
Well, no, I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm a little bit nervous but excited at the same time because I get to witness round one with a lot of other people at the Salad and Go Media Stadium, and having the privilege of calling the game live itself with the best view in the house, man. So I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We'll get into round one tonight against the Sharks very shortly, but just quickly, you've spent a bit of time around the team. You spent a bit of time around the team last year. As a Warriors fan, with all of the groundswell that happened last year, obviously the performance on the field as well, I'm a little worried about second-year syndrome. Is second-year syndrome a thing? Because the Cowboys had a mean year, and then last year they didn't have a mean year. Is it a thing, second-year syndrome?
Oh, look, it can be a thing, and I'm not going to lie and say I haven't thought of it being a thing. I've seen it over the years with individual players, second-year syndrome, but also clubs and teams. But I'll make you feel a little bit better by knowing that I've been on the ground looking for that, watching training very closely, up close and personally, and seeing what they've been doing and how the intensity is and how they want to compete. And then just yesterday, seeing Kirk Capewell when he got his jumper presented to him and how emotional it was with his family. If there is such thing as second-year syndrome, it's not going to be through the lack of effort, passion, and absolute want and intent from the side.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made. And when I'm trying to think about it myself, I'm like, what? So much has changed from last year, despite the fact that the team, for the most part, is almost exactly the same. The people that have come back in, obviously you've got CHT who's come back in after a year off. You've now got RTS, legend of the club, coming back in, legend of the game, and then Kirk Capewell, who's he's a proven commodity as well. Is that what would, if second year syndrome existed, is it the size of the signings that we've brought back in? Is that one of the things that would keep it at bay, do you think?
Yeah, that's one of the things that keep it at bay, because those three names are ultimate competitors. They have really lifted it in and around the place, and people love being around them in training. Competitions for spots lift that once again in terms of absolute depth across the board. Another year in the system underneath Webby. There's a lot of guys that played New Zealand A and played Cup last year that are really knocking on the door of the first graders in the top 30 side. Look, I just don't think there's a problem. I know when Webby come back and how he has addressed the boys, and often when they're talking about what they've done and while at training, it's been more about we can be better and we should be better, and just what you measure last year on in terms of their results in training and just the efforts and everything else across the board, they have looked that much better. But that's not saying that everyone else out there isn't doing the same and they're leveling up. But out of the top four sides from last year, this side has strengthened, I believe, in personnel coming on board, and from what I've seen, that just the intensity and the way they train has been a lot better than last year.
Outside of those big names that we just mentioned, who are some of the guys that have sort of caught your eye coming into this season? They might be, top flight players, or they may have been some of those second generation guys starting to come through now. Who's sort of stood out to you? Who's training the house down this pre-season?
Look, I think everyone's training the house down, man. Look, you got Tom Marley and Bunty Alfaro coming in off what they've done in the pre-season or off-season. Tom Marley's probably the one who's least experienced out of the two, but then, you've got Diane Mahu, who was going so well, who's been injured, Tane Tuapiki, Setu too. So, like, if you really want to watch the players play, it's not just the 8 o'clock kickoff. It's before that. It's the cup side, because if you look at the halves pairing you've got in there, Chanel Harris, Tavita, you've got Tamari Martin, you've got a host of players. Ed Corsi is back playing in there. Ali Lautawa is playing in there. Laban, there are so many good players in that side, in that top 30, who just want to really put their hand up and try and make their place back into the squad. So I think during the week we saw some of the guys pair up and say, look, they're just getting ready and they're wanting to do all they can to be back under the spotlight, or be underneath the watch of Webby.
Yeah, and you mentioned that New South Wales Cup team. It looks like almost a first grade team this year, which is something that the Warriors haven't had for a long time, is that kind of depth. Do you think that can only be a good thing for guys like Metcalf, Tamaire, Chanel, who are sort of all more or less vying for the same position, aren't they?
Oh, for sure, man. There's a lot of people vying for positions. The wing spot is hotly contested. The centre spot is hotly contested. The halves is hotly contested. We're probably still a little bit down on troops in terms of the middle, especially if Marata are out. But, Zion Mo'u, who's got a 2-match ban, he's been training the house down, and he was a sensation in the under-20s competition, the provincial one and national one, a couple of years ago. He is a guy that, when you think about some of the best that have come off the back fence, Pekka Falesina, Mark Turkey, all these guys, Zion Mo'u is just like that. He's a damaging runner. There's cause for excitement, because a lot of this is homegrown too. Dimitri Sepakula, who debuted last year, played a few games, but hadn't really had the chance to do a lot because he had his ACL. So these guys are all coming back. They're knocking on the door, and when you see the top guns out there training, they're getting pushed and they're snapping at the heels. These other younger boys who just had a taste of it, and they want more.
Yeah, particularly in those pre-seasons, I thought Zion looked excellent. And because prop for us, obviously, Adam's going to go next year, but even the last couple of years, we've sort of been almost like half a prop too short. But Barnett's sort of become that starting prop, and he was a second rower coming into the squad when we brought him over. Marata the same. They're both going to play in the middle. Is that because we're plugging a gap, or do you think that is how middle forwards are going now? You want that faster, sort of punchier player?
Well, there's a number of ways to get momentum, and momentum is what's key in the sport, because momentum means if you find that you're on the front foot, then you can play into those gaps, and you can stress the defensive line further. The way we played last year, the Warriors, there was no two-prop rotation on the backbench by the come the end of the year. They were getting speed through the middle through fast feet like the Ball brothers, and finding other ways. And, of course, the guys coming from the back fence himself and the wingers, Dallin and the boys, they've been really good. So Montoya. So I think there's a number of ways to skin a cat, but there are a number of options in terms of the middle forward runners coming through. But Marata, what he did for the Dolphins game, which is a shame that he's injured now. We saw him on the edge, full-time centre once upon a time, but damaging prop, a big body, and that leg speed that we've seen that has really hurt those towering defenders.
Yeah, I can see a lot of Marata sort of punching through into the backfield throughout the season, so I'm looking forward to him getting that little foot niggle out of the way. Looking ahead to tonight's match, 8 p.m, home game out there at Go Hard Media Stadium at Mount Smart. How do we match up against the Sharks? They're a pretty good side in their own right. Their back five is probably where their biggest power is. Braden Hamlin-Uele, there were rumours about him coming to play for us. He's not playing for either of the teams tonight. He's been ruled out as well. So how do we, on paper, stack up against the Sharks tonight?
Oh, look, I think we beat them both times last year. It's great win coming from behind, a clutch performance from Sean Johnson and a number of guys, which became a Halberg moment of the year. But the last time at home, Go Media Stadium, the Sharks came and they absolutely got a hiding. So they want to come back. There'll be some revenge on their mind, and they'll be wanting to make amends. And like every team, every year, you want to start round one and you want to set the tone for the season and what it could look like. And they're playing against Adam Fanua Blake, who's going to come next year. So they'll want to show them what it's like against them, playing up against them. And in the same respect, I think Adam will want to show his future team that he's got the goods and what they can look forward to seeing. But look, I think the Warriors will go well. I think it's a sellout crowd. The way they've picked the team, I think they want to go through the middle. You've got some big boppers in there as well, Bunty and Tom Maley with nice feet. But yeah, as you mentioned, it's the back five, Jesse Rankman, Sifa, Talakai, Ronaldo, who was in fine form last time on New Zealand soil playing for the Kiwis when they beat Australia 30-0. So it's going to be one of those games that you're going to enjoy. Pretend Quarter, another Kiwi who's coming back home, Toby Rudolph, who was going to be at the Warriors but then decided to flip. So there's a number of little juicy clashes or matchups there that you can get used to and like. And of course, with Sean Johnson and Luke Metcalf, once upon a time being at the club, it adds more to the competition as well.
Yeah, plenty of storylines going into this one, which I quite like. Obviously, Sean Johnson going to the Sharks, the Adam Whanua-Blake of the whole thing. It's pretty exciting. And I understand that Sky is putting on a bit of transport to the game. They've got the Band-Wah-Gon. They're picking fans up around town. They're going to be at the Cloud, the waterfront there, 5 p.m. Then they're going to be in Mangere Town Centre at 6 p.m. You can go down and wave the bus down for a chance to get hooked up with free merch and tickets to the Warriors vs Sharks game. Are you driving the bus, Monty? How's that working?
I'm not, but what I'm hearing is Wairangi Kupu is amongst it all. And, Wairangi Kupu, the legendary warrior that he is, and the crowd goes wild, and he is just the guy that when there's a party, he'll be at the front of it, he'll be leading the way, very much the vibrant one.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be there, he's going to be the ringleader. So it's a great thing that they're doing double-decker bus, Skyway team. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're thinking about, going in and having fun and getting to the stadium, what better way to have that pre-match sort of entertainment and fun, which is being amongst like-minded people, high on energy, and getting free merch, free tickets, and a free ride. Bro, it sounds like me.
It doesn't get much better than that, but you're right. It's about the live game. It's about being with other Waz fans and feeling the vibe. And you couldn't have picked a better bus driver. Mr. Reliable, Wairangi Kupu himself. The bus will be on time and the bus will be rocking. So again, it's going to be down at the Cloud, 5 p.m, down at the waterfront in Auckland, and then Mangere Town Centre at 6 p.m, free merch. And you might get to meet Wairangi as well. Thanks very much for joining us today, Monty, and enjoy the season 2024.
Pleasure, Manaia.